Well, I have a definition of what the establishment is, and I think, to me, it's an acknowledgement of the tremendous amount of influence that the large speculative developers have on the decisions that are made by elected officials throughout the county, in the cities as well as the county unincorporated area. And they're the ones who have so much at stake, and they're the ones who are aware of what is happening at the county level because it affects them. The challenge is when the county is obscure to its constituents, especially those of us who live in the cities, we don't know what's going on at the county level. We don't know when to voice our concerns about what's proposed by the county on issues that are ultimately going to affect us. I think the key thing for people they need to remember is that speculative developers leave, and what is left is for the public to finance and manage. And so it's really important to keep those things in balance in terms of special interest and their viewpoints about timing of projects, about how much the fees are. They have more influence than they should. I served with Scott on the council, and I believe on the Board of Supervisors, he is going to be a fresh face, a fresh approach. He brings experience as an elected official to that office, having an administrative role to prepare you to do the things that you have to do as an elected official, especially at the Board of Supervisors level, is not enough. It may be how to maintain status quo, but I don't think status quo is going to be the answer for the issues that District 2 and all of South Placer are going to be dealing with. I think Scott brings the experience and the expertise to deal with the issues in South Placer, and that's why I'm supporting him. Oh, to me, it is everything as far as this decision is made. This is, I have been in elected office and involved in planning and development issues all of my career. They do not have a party affiliation associated with them. Sewers, water, adequate park and recreation, adequate road maintenance, that's not Democrat or Republican or any other party. It's quality of life issues, and it really needs to be considered that way. I know both of the candidates. In fact, I worked with Scott's opponent when I was in elected office. I found her to be a very efficient assistant to a very accomplished supervisor who has left a valuable legacy for District 2 and for all of Placer County. But I also served with Scott on the City Council, crafting budgets, being responsible for issues that were coming before us on the City Council. And I know there is a difference between playing an administrative role, a support role, to a supervisor who is the one who crafts policy and negotiates with his fellow supervisors to enact policies that are going to affect Placer County and its quality of life. His opponent does not have the same level of experience that someone who's been seated in office and held accountable just inherently brings to the job. And since I served with Scott, I know the level of engagement that he has in the issues and the creativity that he brings forward. And I think that it would make a substantial difference in the performance of the supervisor to come from just an administrative sort of role versus someone who has actually served in public office and been held accountable for the decisions that are made. I think it's extremely important for a county supervisor to be accessible and in front of constituents. And I think that's an area where there is an opportunity for the greatest amount of improvement as voters make a decision on who is going to represent them in District 2. The county has been pretty obscure in terms of interface with constituents, especially those constituents who live in the cities. I think there's so much to be gained by a new approach. I think the challenges that we're going to face are going to be oriented around transportation and traffic, and then planning and managing the growth that has already been approved, and also taking into consideration the important aspects of evaluating any other projects that come forward. I think it's awfully important for the county supervisors to remember that cities represent their constituents. It's a unique facet of interest that's represented and voiced by the city, but ultimately, all of their decisions and direction affect the voters and their constituents who live in the cities. I can't speak to the motivation of the other four council members as far as who they have endorsed, but what I know for sure is that the people who live in District 2 live with their issues. They're keenly aware of them, and this time in the general election, they have a clear choice to make. And so I don't think endorsements are going to be as significant, honestly. I think people understand they've got traffic issues, they've got growth management issues, and I think they know that experience is going to be the best tool to deal with those issues going forward.